Across deserts, deep beneath oceans, and hidden inside jungles, there are relics that defy everything we think we know about history. Perfectly carved stones that seem too advanced for their time. Artifacts that appear centuries, sometimes millennia, out of place. And ruins so mysterious, even today's best scientists are left scratching their heads. Are these discoveries proof of forgotten civilizations, ancient geniuses, or something even stranger? One thing's certain, these mysteries don't just challenge history books, they rewrite them. If you love unraveling history's biggest enigmas, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who's into the strange and unexplained. Let's dive deep into the mysteries together. 1. The Antikythera mechanism. It was 1901. Off the coast of a small Greek island called Antikythera, sponge divers stumbled upon something they never expected. Not treasure, not a statue, but a corroded lump of bronze gears fused together by centuries beneath the sea. At first, it looked like nothing more than scrap metal. But when scientists began cleaning away the rust, they realized they were staring at the remains of a machine unlike anything else from the ancient world. This wasn't just a curiosity, it was a revelation. Because hidden inside that corroded mass was precision engineering, the kind no one believed possible for over 2,000 years ago. X-rays revealed dozens of interlocking gears, each with teeth cut so finely, so perfectly, they rivaled the craftsmanship of 18th century clockmakers. Think about that for a second. We're talking about ancient Greeks, a civilization long before telescopes, before modern mathematics as we know it. Yet somehow, they had created what many now call the world's first computer. So what did it do? The mechanism could track the movements of the sun and moon, predict eclipses, and even chart the cycles of the Olympic Games. This wasn't just a machine, it was a tool for understanding time itself. And here's the part that really bends the mind. Nothing else like it was found for more than 1,000 years. The level of complexity seen in the Antikythera mechanism simply disappears from history, and doesn't re-emerge until the construction of sophisticated astronomical clocks in medieval Europe. So what happened? Was the knowledge lost in a fire at the Library of Alexandria? Did only a select few in Greece know this secret, guarding it until it vanished with them? Or was the mechanism part of something far greater, a tradition of advanced knowledge we've only glimpsed? Even today, scientists are still scanning and modeling its fragments, hoping to unlock every hidden function. Yet despite decades of research, one thing remains crystal clear. The Antikythera mechanism shouldn't exist. But it does. 2. The Baghdad Battery. In 1938, deep inside the collections of the National Museum of Iraq, an archaeologist stumbled across something odd. It was a clay jar, ordinary at first glance, standing about 6 inches tall. But inside, sealed away for nearly 2,000 years, was a copper cylinder and an iron rod. It didn't take long for curiosity to spark a wild question. Could this strange jar have been an ancient battery? When replicas were made and tested, the answer shocked researchers. By filling the jar with vinegar or lemon juice, the contraption produced a mild electric current. Nothing powerful, just a small charge. But still, electricity in the ancient world, that's the kind of discovery that forces you to rethink everything you thought you knew about human history. So what would people have used it for? Some theories suggest electroplating, coating objects with thin layers of metal. Others think it might have been for medical purposes, delivering small shocks as a kind of early therapy. And then, of course, there's the more controversial idea that the Baghdad battery was a piece of lost technology, a whisper from a civilization with knowledge far beyond its time. But here's the twist. There's no solid evidence the jars were ever used as batteries at all. Critics argue they could have simply been storage vessels, or even part of some ritual practice. Without clear documentation, without an ancient instruction manual, we're left with nothing but educated guesses. Yet the timing makes it tantalizing. These artifacts date back to around 200 BC, long before Benjamin Franklin flew his famous kite, long before Edison lit his first bulb. If these were indeed batteries, they would rewrite the timeline of electrical discovery by nearly 2,000 years. So what's the truth? A primitive experiment, a misunderstood ritual object, or a forgotten science that flickered briefly, then vanished into history's shadows? The Baghdad battery may never give us a straight answer, but it reminds us of something important. Sometimes, The past holds inventions that seem to leap forward, then disappear, leaving us to wonder just how advanced our ancestors really were. 3. Puma Punku's precision stones, high in the Bolivian Andes, nearly 13,000 feet above sea level, lies a set of ruins unlike anything else on Earth. Puma Punku. At first glance, it may look like scattered blocks of stone, but a closer look reveals something that continues to puzzle archaeologists and engineers alike. The stones here were cut with such astonishing precision, they almost defy belief. We're talking about massive andesite and granite blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, carved into shapes so exact that they fit together like pieces of a puzzle. No mortar, no filler, just stone against stone, locked so tightly you can't slip a razor blade between them. The most famous of these are the H-shaped blocks. Each one is identical, as if mass-produced, with grooves, slots, and perfectly straight edges. Modern engineers have studied them and admitted replicating this level of accuracy today would require advanced tools, diamond-tipped saws, laser cutters, or computer-aided machines. And yet, Puma Punku dates back to at least 500 AD, built by the Tiwanaku civilization, a people with no evidence of wheels, no written language, and supposedly only simple stone and bronze tools. So how did they do it? Some suggest ingenious but overlooked techniques, like sand abrasion, wooden tools, or endless manpower. Others argue for lost technologies, knowledge wiped out by time. And then there are the more controversial theories, that Puma Punku's builders had help from a source not entirely of this earth. Skeptics, of course, push back. They point out that extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence. But even they admit, Puma Punku doesn't quite fit the narrative of primitive ancient builders. And then there's the sheer logistics. Moving 100-ton stones across rugged Andean terrain without wheels or pack animals. That's a mystery all its own. Some blocks appear to have been quarried miles away. Imagine the effort it would take just to drag one into place, let alone dozens. Today, the site remains partly in ruins, toppled by earthquakes and centuries of erosion. But the mystery is still alive. Puma Punku whispers of a civilization capable of feats far beyond what history credits them with. Was it genius engineering? A lost chapter of human innovation? Or something we may never fully understand? One thing is certain. The stones of Puma Punku stand as silent rebels against the limits we place on the past. 4. The Voynich Manuscript. In 1912, an antique book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich purchased a mysterious manuscript from an Italian monastery. At first glance, it looked like just another medieval text. But as scholars began turning its pages, they realized this was no ordinary book. The Voynich manuscript is filled with over 240 pages of bizarre drawings, plants that don't exist anywhere on Earth, naked figures bathing in strange green liquid, and diagrams of stars and constellations that seem oddly out of place. But the real enigma lies in the writing. Every page is covered in text, written in a language no one has ever deciphered. For more than a century, cryptographers, linguists, and code breakers have tried to crack it. Even experts from World War II, men who broke some of the hardest enemy ciphers, couldn't make sense of it. The script doesn't match any known alphabet. The grammar seems consistent like a real language, but it has no connection to anything else we know. So what is it? A lost medieval language? A code hiding forbidden knowledge? Or could it be something far stranger, an invention designed to look meaningful, but ultimately meaningless? Some theories suggest it was an elaborate hoax, created to impress a wealthy collector. Others think it could be a medical or botanical text, its plants and remedies lost to time. And then there are those who wonder if it preserves knowledge from an older, forgotten civilization, passed down in secrecy. What makes it even more intriguing is that scientific dating places the parchment around the early 1400s, which means, whatever the Voynich manuscript is, it's not modern fakery. Someone went to incredible lengths, centuries ago, to write a book that no one today can understand. Today, the manuscript sits in Yale University's Beinecke Library, kept under careful protection. Scholars continue to analyze its patterns, hoping a breakthrough will one day reveal its meaning. But for now, it remains what it has always been, a riddle in ink and parchment, a book that speaks in a voice no one can hear. 5. The Great Pyramid's Hidden Secrets. On the windswept plateau of Giza, 3 colossal pyramids rise from the desert, monuments so iconic they've become symbols of ancient Egypt itself. The largest, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, was built around 4,500 years ago, and yet despite centuries of study, it still holds mysteries that defy explanation. Let's start with the basics. The Great Pyramid originally stood at 481 feet tall, nearly 40 stories, and was once covered in gleaming white limestone that reflected the sun. Each of its 2 million blocks weighed several tons. Somehow, without cranes, without trucks, without modern engineering, ancient builders raised this mountain of stone with a precision that still stuns architects today. The alignment is uncanny. The sides of the pyramid face almost perfectly north, south, east, and west, off by just a fraction of a degree. Even with today's GPS, it's hard to match that kind of accuracy. Some scholars suggest careful use of the stars guided the builders. But others wonder, could there have been advanced surveying techniques we've forgotten? Inside, the pyramid reveals even more puzzles. Narrow shafts run through the structure, pointing directly at specific stars in Orion's belt and Sirius. The king's chamber itself is made of massive granite blocks hauled from quarries hundreds of miles away. Each block weighs up to 80 tons. How did they move them? And more importantly, why go to such lengths? Over the years, theories have multiplied. Mainstream Egyptologists say the pyramid was a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, though no mummy was ever found inside. Others suggest it could have been a kind of power plant designed to harness natural energies. And of course, some claim extraterrestrial influence, though no evidence supports that. Still, the mystery lingers. Why was such extraordinary precision necessary for a tomb? Why align it so perfectly with the stars? And why do so many ancient cultures around the world build similar pyramid-like structures, often with similar celestial connections? In recent years, advanced scanning technology has revealed hidden voids inside the pyramid, large spaces no one knew existed. Are they structural gaps, hidden chambers, or something else entirely, waiting to be uncovered? For now, the Great Pyramid stands as both a triumph of human achievement and a riddle carved in stone. A reminder that sometimes the past knows things the present struggles to comprehend. 6. The Dropa Stones. In the 1930s, high in the remote Bayanhar Mountains of China, a team of archaeologists reportedly made a discovery that would blur the line between myth and reality. Inside a series of caves, they claimed to have found hundreds of circular stone discs, each about a foot across, with a small hole in the center, eerily resembling ancient vinyl records. But what made them extraordinary were the strange carvings etched into their surfaces, spiraling grooves filled with microscopic symbols, too precise to have been random scratches. When examined more closely, some researchers said the carvings told a story, one that sounded more like science fiction than history. According to translations, the inscriptions described a group of visitors from the sky who crash-landed in the region thousands of years ago. These beings, known as the Dropa, were said to have been stranded, struggling to survive among the local people. It's a tale that's as captivating as it is controversial. Were these stones genuine records of an ancient extraterrestrial encounter, or were they the product of mistranslations, exaggerations, or even outright fabrication? Skeptics point out that hard evidence is scarce. Many of the supposed discs have disappeared, and the original reports are difficult to verify. Some believe the entire story was a hoax, born out of Cold War-era sensationalism. Others argue the stones may be authentic artifacts, but their true meaning was misinterpreted. Perhaps they were ritual objects or records of mythological tales rather than literal history. Still, the Dropa stones refuse to vanish from conversation. They resurface in documentaries, books, and debates about whether humanity's past holds chapters we've conveniently ignored or simply can't explain. Here's what makes them fascinating. Even if the alien story is dismissed, the idea that ancient people might have encoded complex narratives into stone discs thousands of years ago is extraordinary in itself. Imagine using stone, not parchment, not papyrus, to preserve stories meant to last forever. Whether hoax, misunderstood relic, or proof of contact with something beyond our world, the Dropa stones embody what makes ancient mysteries so irresistible. They challenge us to question, to wonder, and to admit that sometimes the past is stranger than the future we imagine.